Hello and welcome. My name is Heather. I'm a registered professional counselor and I focus on breakups.
My name is Kevin and I'm a clinical counselor and I focus on relationship issues. You can also find me on TikTok as the Relationship Guru. Our question for today is, I have a boyfriend for almost 9 months now, and ever since he's not going to school and he's not doing anything. He's an awesome, faithful man, but he's lazy. Should I dump him?
Honestly, I think it really depends on what it is you want in a partner. You know, if you want a partner who is more driven and more motivated, that's totally fine. And whether or not this is something that you can accept from this current partner.
I think what's interesting to me is what attracted you to the person in the first place. Because there was something, obviously. I don't think initially we're going to be attracted to someone that we find not very motivated to do anything. So I wonder if we were trying to, go a little bit further on this topic. Is this something that changed? Was he or she initially motivated, and then over time the motivation started to drop off?
That's a good point as well, because when we first start off in our relationships, we always put our best foot forward. We're on our best behaviors, and over time they kind of show more of their true selves because they get comfortable in the relationship.
That's right. On your dating profile, you're never going to be totally 100% honest. You're never going to say, hey, I'm going to be real with you that I'm kind of lazy. Don't expect me to help around the house or do much at all. And in fact, I don't even have a job.
So you said that they're not going to school and that they're unmotivated, but is there anything else in their life that they're, passionate about? Like maybe they do have a job that they're really interested in, right? And what does that unmotivation look like exactly to you, or how do you define it as?
And I also think too is what's important to you, because you also mentioned he's an awesome, faithful man. And I think for many people, they would say, hey, that's good enough for me. I just want someone who's going to be awesome and amazing to be around, and someone that I know is going to be trustworthy and someone that I can respect. When it comes to the other things, maybe there's that balance, right? So it's really what is important to you. If you're looking for someone that you want them to have a job and you want them to make decent income, and if you want them to help around the house, which like a lot of people obviously do, but if that's very important to you, then the other things, as him being an awesome person, being a faithful person, may not be may not outweigh the other things that are very valuable to you.
I think it's also important for you to know yourself, right? And then that way you can know what kind of partner you want as well. He's honest, he's faithful. Where does that sit on your value? And also, what's that word I'm looking for? Deal breakers.
Deal breakers. What's a deal breaker? But for a lot of people, that is a deal breaker. So it is. You could say, hey, I do need someone to have a job. If you don't have a job, that's it. I'm done. If it's someone that maybe they lost their job because of, recently because of the pandemic, or maybe because they were laying people off, well, that's a totally different story. But if it's someone that you see is not trying, and again, that's something that's important to you, and you see that your partner is not willing to put in that effort, then you might have to say, how does that sit with you? And if every day you're thinking about it, and every day it's causing you anxiety, and every day it's causing you some type of grief, then you're probably not going to be happy in the relationship in the long run.
Realize, if this is something that's important to you, to have a partner who is motivated, who's driven, because it's okay to want that. It's okay to not want that also.
What if the person was motivated in the beginning, but then something happened? For example, a life situation happened. And, maybe something happened with their family, or maybe some type of injury, or they started having some mental health stuff going on. Maybe they were getting a little bit depressed, or experiencing a lot of anxiety. So sometimes there could be something else going on that has not yet been identified. What about having a conversation with your partner? Have you had that conversation? Does your partner know exactly how you feel? Because if they don't know how you feel and you're kind of putting this off and it's bothering you, then they may think everything's fine. That if they feel like the relationship's going fine from their viewpoint, then there might be no reason to have any motivation to change.
That's a really good point. First and foremost, communication. Communicating with your partner, letting them know how you feel, taking ownership and responsibility for your feelings, using I statements. I feel worried, I feel concerned, as opposed to you're being lazy.
Right. right? We never want to start off with why. Why are you not doing anything? Why are you just sitting around the house? Why don't you have a job? Because automatically our partner is going to get defensive.
Exactly.
But when you say things with the I statement, like you said, I noticed that you have a little bit of a low mood lately, and maybe you can just tell me a little bit more about that. I want to know how I can support you.
I think the important thing is like, don't stay in the relationship if you're hoping to change them or if you're hoping for them to change, because even though they may have potential and you see that potential in them, it doesn't necessarily mean that they'll reach it. And that's okay too. You don't want to stay in the relationship if it's going to grow that sense of resentment because you're expecting them to be a different person than who they are now.
And you have to also see how much effort do you want to put into this? How much time is it going to take from other things that are important to you? Is it, again, going to be worth all your time? It may or may not. And so those are some questions that you're going to have to ask yourself. But that is something that is important. It sounds like it's important to you, is that you like someone who is going to school, right? So those are things, again, that, was this communicated when you guys first initially started dating? And maybe you did communicate that. And maybe he or she said that, I'm going to go to school. And then you find 6 months later, they have no interest in school at all. So, a lot of these things you're going to find through, in some way, trial and error with the relationship. But I always say that, it's good just to be upfront and honest what you're looking for in someone. You also asked, should I dump him?
Right. Yes. So that's the second part of the question.
And that's what puts us on a kind of a tough spot, right? Because, a lot of people who are not therapists will probably just say, dump him, get rid of him. Come on, you can do a lot better.
Yeah, there's plenty of fish in the sea. You can find someone else who went to school, who has a good job and this and that. It really depends, right? It really depends on what it is you want and what it is that you want from a partner and out of a relationship. So there's no right or wrong answer. It just really comes down to your preferences and your needs.
And I think as therapists, a lot of times you will get that is, what should I do? And the reason we sometimes shy away from that, unless it's someone who's getting abused or in a very toxic relationship, then yes, we will do everything we can to help support that person to leave the relationship. But in these cases, we never want to just flat out say, dump the person, and then 5 months later you're reaching out to us saying, oh my gosh, I made the biggest mistake of my life, I just lost the person of my dream. So like Heather said, it really comes down to, do you see a long-term future with this person? And you say, I really don't, because of all these things that are very important to me, it's just not being done. Then ultimately you will make that decision.
And make it because it's something that you feel is right for you, not because everyone else is telling you that you should leave him, you should find someone else.
That's right. And you're going to get that a lot. You're going to have a lot of your possibly family members and friends, and sometimes they're looking out for your best interest for sure. And sometimes you should listen to them. But other times you might say, well, they don't know the whole story.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe as we kind of wrap this up, is even with your partner, maybe you don't know the whole story yet, and maybe that's something you need to ask and talk to them, and so you kind of get a little bit better picture of what's going on for him or her.
Yeah, I agree. Well said, Kevin.
Thank you, Heather. So what we hope to do here is in the comment section, ask questions, and we will try our best to pick the ones that we feel would be most appropriate to answer for a lot of people.
And make sure to subscribe because, we'll be picking these questions. We'll be answering them here. So make sure you subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss a video.
Thank you.